Stocks edging slightly higher here following the release of the Fed's January meeting minutes. We are off session lows here. You can see in the green. Dow leaders include Caterpillar, Dow, DuPont, Walgreens, Pfizer, and Walmart are big winner yesterday. Not doing so well today in the S&P 500. Materials, the best performing sector today. Communication services and real estate underperforming. So let's dive into the minutes, folks. Miles, what was the big news to you?
I thought it was very interesting the way that the Fed acknowledged its own role in the market volatility. And I would quote from the minutes, talking about the staff review of the overview of the financial situation. Investor risk sentiment fluctuated materially over the intermeeting period. Just Fed speak is just the best, isn't it? A variety of factors, including FOMC, communication, so on and so forth, were cited as contributing to a deterioration in risk sentiment early in the period. And so that's the Fed saying, we are aware that all you in the markets are saying it was our fault that stocks were down a lot. Now, the Fed wasn't necessarily apologetic. They just acknowledged that it happened. Yeah. But I think the way that Jay Powell, and as we've discussed a number of times, other Fed officials have changed their communication makes clear that they are willing to acknowledge their role in global markets. And I think that's a little bit different from the way that perhaps the Yellen or the Bernanke Fed was operating. Obviously, they're operating under different circumstances, financial crisis and all that. But Powell is willing to say, I get it, guys. I'm a player in global financial markets.
Self-awareness, I find, is often a very underrated characteristic. And so I tip my hat to Jay Powell for that. And I think you're right. That's a really good point to acknowledge. Overall, though, boy, sound and fury signifying nothing. And if you look at the chart of the day, you can see, well, we had a spike, then we had a drop, and then we're kind of back to where we were when we started the day. I think the Fed, there you go.
There you have it.
Whoop, whoop, little whoop, 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 whoop. That's the audio version.
Well, it was also a funny one because of the weather going on. We didn't have
no embargo.
The embargo, so we didn't have headlines coming out. The minutes came out, and then everyone had to look at them. And I wonder, I mean, we often see reaction no matter what, but it was a little bit of a different day in terms of that.
That's an interesting point. But, overall, when you sort of go back to where things were before, that usually makes the Federal Reserve board and chair happy because they don't like to do things like they have been doing for the past couple months, generally speaking, right? I mean, at some point you do have to say, hey, we're changing course here. But things like this, you don't want.
And I think they also, just to put a bow on it, they pretty explicitly acknowledge that essentially risks to the global economy from Europe, China, trade war, all that stuff is really the core thesis behind their patient view, right? That's the key thing they adopted, and they are looking elsewhere for reasons to not be patient.
Can we use that? That's the Jen word? Jen?
Patient.
Yeah. How many times, Jen?
Oh, well, I mean, there's so many different times we've had them. I mean, Miles was there in the meeting. You said 9 was the most recent
in this statement.
And then, I mean, Miles is going to F3 right there on the whole minute.
Yeah. I've got 13.
13 in the minutes and 9 in the statement.
With one reference of patience.
Oh, well, see, but that's why I undercount.
This is the web page, though, so it may be incorporating patience elsewhere that isn't the statement, right? It could just be.
The patient.
It's as many as a Guns N' Roses
patient
song.
Needs to be patient.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm taking you back. Hey, but talking
I know
about.
that song.
You do? Even you know that song?
Of course I know that.
All right,
General Lies. Yeah.